This is going to be a short call, but I just wanted to hop on and talk about John. How you doing? Um, it's going to be a short one, but I want to talk about something that hardly ever gets talked about. Just leave it a couple of minutes. John, how's Will getting on tonight? You better text so you don't interrupt Will and John. John Keith, how you doing? Tell me where you are in the world. Apologies, I'm late on. We've had a few bugs go around the house. It's taking me out. Brilliant night, good. It's taken me down. These bugs, passing bugs around the household. Okay, good. Adam, how's the knee? Or knees? I think it's one knee, isn't it? So this is going to be a short one. All right. Yeah. I'm going to take things right back to basics. And those that listen to me a lot, bowling can be quite intimidating because there's lots of movements that happen very quickly. And the way that I've overcome that kind of messiness is just by breaking things down and really focusing on one thing at a time. That's the only thing that works for me as a personality. And that's what I can advise everybody else. Path, how you doing? Here in the UK, and please, everyone who's on this call, please let me know where you are in the world. Lots of clubs, counties, pathways, schools have started up their pre-season path. I'm good, thank you. Their pre-season winter program, roughly 12 weeks long. And often what happens is, because it's quite easy to set up, who's batting, who's bowling. It doesn't happen everywhere. There is often clubs that do it properly. I think the clubs do it properly. They set up a warm-up, fielding station, a bowling station, specific bowling station. They set up a batting station. It's not always possible because sometimes there's big numbers, small facility, and that kind of stuff. Often you go straight into from not doing a lot bowlers wise, and you then go into bowling quite a lot against batters. Every week it's the same. And in fact, speaking with most bowlers, every year is the same. You rock up at club training and you just bowl against batters every time. And some bowlers don't even get a chance to bat. However, if you have a look at matches in the summer, invariably there is a bowler batting at least one end when there's an opportunity to win the game. So, you know, bowlers often get a disservice when it comes to batting. However, their primary job is bowling. We talk a lot about swing, we talk about line, length, pace, lateral movement, Yorkers, solo balls, all this kind of stuff. And they are all really important, every single one of them. However, the stuff that we don't get talked about is also what I consider proper basics. And one thing I want to talk to you about this evening, just quickly, is going to be a short call, is footwear. What our feet are doing, particularly in the winter. Indoor surface, hard surface, and that's okay. Ideally, you need a decent pair of shoes, not running shoes. Shrubby, my former opening bowler who's just hopped on. Ian Shrubshaw is in the house, everyone. Ideally, a decent pair of shoes when you're bowling indoors. Decent pair of shoes, what's that? Well, it's not running shoes, ideally. They are comfy, but they don't do a lot for bowlers. You need either a cross trainer, a basketball boot, a tennis shoe, something like that. All right, because the requirements for bowlers, you're running in a straight line, of course you are, and then you're rotating, you're landing, you're absorbing, you're staying upright, hopefully, and you're moving forwards towards the target. All of those things need stability in the feet. Bowling starts on the ground at feet. And if things are all in line and they're working together, the bowler's got a great chance of staying upright, keeping moving at the target. But it all starts with the feet. And a couple of weeks ago, bunch of bowlers walked into the session, and we kind of set things out for the 10 weeks, I think it is, maybe slightly less, 8 weeks. And the agreement we have in place is that every time they come into the session and they start working with me, there's a shoelace test. Not a shoe test, because, I understand that some people aren't in a position to get specific indoor bowling shoes. Everyone goes for these comfy running shoes, including me. But I wouldn't bowl in them because they do nothing for bowlers. But tying shoelaces, we all talk about the basics, and often we talk about the basics being the top of off stump, and it is. That's where you need to live. Your high traffic area in the summer has to be around the top of the stumps. Although if you want a bit of fun with the batter, sometimes it's going to be around the head. And then you go back at the stumps. So high traffic area is around the top of the stumps. However, how do you get it there? There needs to be a certain number of things in place for a bowler to get it in and around the top of the stumps. And it's not just shoelaces, of course it's not. But let me just run through a few notes that I made earlier on. Shoelaces, the boring basic that quietly breaks actions. There seems to be a trend with young people of literally not tying their shoelaces. And I get it, it's comfy. I don't really understand the willingness to have shoes slopping around with your feet inside. Bowlers need something that's secure. Bowling starts at the ground. If your shoe isn't secure, nothing above it can be stable. Number one, if you have loose shoelaces, you have a loss of force transfer. Now you need to transfer as soon as you land. Let's say back foot and then front foot. As soon as you land, you need that force to go vertically. To use it to hold you in an upright position, if you're strong enough, and to keep you moving forwards. If your foot moves on the inside of your shoe, you leak energy. Force doesn't travel cleanly up the chain because you're slopping around. It's fractions of seconds and it's millimeters turning into centimeters of movement inside the shoe, but it all makes a difference. It's similar to a bowler landing their feet on a wet crease. That sort of thing, with the foot sliding around on the inside of the shoe. You need when your feet hits the floor, it needs to be solid, stiff. A few reminders coming through there. Um, but sloppy shoelaces, it feels soft and almost like a dead feeling. You're sinking. That's the first thing. Force cannot travel up the chain if your feet are sliding around on the inside. Loose shoelaces, foot lands, then settles. The micro slippage happens before the force load is accepted. So all of these things, it means you're unstable, you're unbalanced. And how can a bowler, we talk about the basic being a top of off stump majority of the time, how can we expect bowlers to execute that if they got sloppy shoelaces, which means that they're literally practicing bowling on wet surface effectively? Sloppy shoelaces we'll talk about, Wolfgang. Good evening. Unstable feet leads to excess ankle movement, knee collapse, because you have to soften the blow. If your foot is sliding constantly when you're looking to bowl over the top of it, your leg, it goes up the chain and you soften the blow, and the way you do that is your leg bends more than it needs to. More than it needs to. And then it turns into a collapse. And then it turns into something that you can't get up and over your front foot. Your body compensates and you get into unhealthy, unsafe positions. It is that important. And leads on to my fourth one. So the demands of bowling is what I call vertical stiffness. All right. Don't laugh, Shrubby. You need your feet, your ankles, your legs to be stiff in order for that force to travel upwards for you to use it. All right. For pace, safe positions, consistency, basically. You need full momentum. You need controlled deceleration. And that's what the feet can give you. You run in. Quicker bowlers tend to run in quicker than medium pacers, but then you need controlled deceleration for that top half to pull over. Loose footwear does not give you that. It gives you a loss of vertical posture. It gives you a collapse into the crease as opposed to staying upright. And then finally, increased injury risk. Especially indoors, because bowlers tend to bowl more indoors. Like a conveyor belt. You know, they don't bowl 6 balls and then have 3 or 4 minutes off when they're fielding down at fine leg. It's literally a conveyor belt and there's no time to recover. So they've got this kind of, you bowl the ball, you're probably bowling 1 ball every minute or 90 seconds. But that happens for like half hour, 40 minutes. So there's no time to recover. And all this time, you might well be getting into more collapsed positions, more vulnerable positions, or because your feet, your shoes, your laces are not giving you that opportunity to stay upright. Ankle irritation, shin and knee overload. It's interesting when I'm just reminding myself of these things, the amount of times bowlers on the back of their winter training have shin splints could be the reason why. Tighten your bloody laces. And if you think about it, 12 weeks worth, let's say you're bowling for 40 minutes times 12. You know, for those people that are bowling twice a week, times 24. 12 weeks kind of leading into the transition from indoors to outdoors. So 24 sessions, 24 times 40. You're roughly bowling, let's say, 1 every minute. 40, so that's 8 overs, 16 a week, all on a hard surface, all in sloppy shoes. All of those balls being in a vulnerable, collapsed position. You might well be bowling consistently, but are your positions safe, or are they unsafe? Because the brain will find a way. The brain knows what you're trying to achieve. All right, even if it's off a short runner. And if you are sinking because you can't be asked to tie your shoelaces, if you are sinking, it will still try and find a way of bowling a ball into length at top of off stump. It will still try and find a way of bowling it at pace, your optimum pace, whatever your indoor optimum pace is. But is that compromised position? Or because you're practicing all of those effectively with your foot just sliding, not just sliding forwards, but if you're in running shoes, you're also got a bit of that pronation going on as well, because that's what running shoes do. So I just want to hop on really and give it that one. So if you are a bowler here, or if you are a parent or a coach, please, we talk about the basics a lot. Let's not ignore the things that we don't often talk about, and that is the importance of footwear. If a bowler has some decent footwear with laces tied up, they've got a better chance that they will have those forces that they are generating from their run up, and then they jump and they land. They've got a better chance that will go up the chain. Promise you. Okay, Joe. Will is laughing at this. I told him tonight to tie his lace, as you cannot bowl fair. Yeah, there you go. A certain bowling coach and laughed. Yeah. It's not really something we talk a lot about, though, is it? Parth, where are you? I'm based up in the Midlands at the moment, Parth. Do you coach any specific clubs at the moment? No, I don't. Um, Bowlers who uses bowling machines, yeah, it pisses me off. And often, you know, I often think that coaches, um, there are many challenges, right? Especially if you're understaffed, there aren't many coaches, and there are lots of players. That's often the case. But I do think it's worthwhile coming away from the easy option of just setting up nets, bowling against batters. And can we just, it doesn't have to take a lot. Can you just allocate a space or a net to do bowling specific drills or even batting specific drills? Just something comes away from the traditional bowl against bat. If it's a competitive net, that's fine. But sometimes bowlers need to work on their technique, as do batters, as do catchers. I never hear comments on bowling in some of the sessions I attended. May I ask to shoot my shot? I'm 25. I'm overseas, based in uh, Northampton. 5 new deliveries learned. Yeah, okay. All right. Any questions? This is going to be a short one tonight. Adam, I'm pleased you're getting there, mate. We do need to have a conversation about my pulling out of Mondays to see if there's a solution in there somewhere. Okay, hit me with it. Do you no? I'm basically. Do you coach? Would love to see if I can get a session with Path. I am very busy. As soon as I open up some opportunities, I do one-to-ones, but only one evening a week up in the Midlands and one day a week down in London. That's a long day, but they're all fully booked. Um, so, but if you follow me on Instagram, I've just posted something tonight that gives an opportunity to get access to me every Monday evening. It's basically a pre-season bowling room where I am offering kind of a closed space coaching live session with a group of bowlers, how to navigate and get the most from your pre-season. So that's an option for you. Yeah, Adam, we'll definitely catch up. Right, any other questions on that? This has been, I've given no notice, and I apologise for that. We've had a bit going on, but that's fine, Path. Take a look. Hopefully there's something there of interest to you. Yeah, exciting start time of the year. What an opportunity club bowlers have in front of them to do things a little bit different, to have worked out what one thing, if they added to their game for the 2026 season, what one thing that can they use these 12 weeks to add to their game, which will mean that they are even more valuable to their team come the start of the season. Or the other option is just to do the same as you've always done, and you'll end up being the same bowler as you were before. I remember, Shrubby, if you're still on it, I remember training at King Edward School in Bath, and I was just playing around with a different load up. I don't know why I was doing that really. And then one year I was playing around with can I improve my in swinger? I always find the away swinger the easier one to bowl. because of my action, my natural action. But then I wanted to make my away swinger even more threatening. So how can I do that? Don't necessarily need to swing it any more or less. To be honest, I was looking to swing the ball exactly the same amount every ball, but every single ball is different. Every single ball. Some swing big, some swing small, some don't swing at all. So I used to rely a lot on natural variation, but then I suddenly thought, right, can I add an in swinger? I won't be able to now because my point of release has just gone a little bit lower. But I really enjoyed, and I think most bowlers do, most people enjoy. Is there something that I haven't looked at yet that I could learn and use and add to my game? And the other way of looking at it is, okay, is there something I need to take away? Is there something I need to do less of or not at all? And one example of that, which is an absolute classic, can I this whole winter not bowl a no ball in indoor training? Because if I did that, my brain and my spatial awareness will recognize where I am in space, and there's a better chance that I will not have a no ball issue when I get outside. So there's the other way of doing it. That would also, if you take something away, that can also mean that you're a better bowler at the start of 26 season. So it's not necessarily always about adding. Sometimes if you just reduce or take something away, that also means you're a better performer, better bowler. Any more questions before I need to go? Shrubby, I'm really pleased you're on, mate. I'm glad I caught you. Are there any country that does open trials? Countries? County. I think most do. I think most do. So I no longer work at Warwickshire, but I know that Warwickshire used to have open trials. So just follow them on Instagram. And they may well still do open trials, and that'll be announced on Instagram or their website. Okay. All right. Listen, I've got to go. Thank you for jumping on for how long has it been? 25 minutes or so. I hope you found that interesting. I am going to be talking about stuff that don't always get talked about, the simple bits, spare studs in your boots, and stuff like that. Making sure that if you're a parent like I am, which most people are, why it's important that our sons and daughters carry their own bags. We're going to have a bit of fun with it as well. Yes, John. Why don't we catch up if you're available during the day or the next couple of days? Let me know. Just pop me through a message. All right. Thank you, everyone. I do not take you giving me your time for granted. I never do, and I never will. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening.